Okay, so what I think is so great is there's so many people here that have such wonderful messages to encourage and inspire language learning. And like Alex's talk just there, I love that. What Susanna was saying is just so important. And the idea of learning Esperanto and so many things that we can discuss this weekend. These are amazing ideas that we should try to get out into the world. One way we can do that is to speak in a conference like this, or enter competitions for the most multilingual student. That's all great, but what can we do by ourselves? And this has been something that I have been focused on and trying to make my little difference. And, you know, controversy aside, my message is very simply to encourage monolinguals. Like, the strategy I might learn a language might be different to some people's, and that's fine, but the very beginning, and I know this because I struggled very, very much to learn a language. I did very poorly in school. I could only speak English. I lived in Spain for 6 months in the expat bubble, not learning any Spanish. So I understand very well what goes on in the heads of a lot of monolinguals. And they don't really care about, you know, is input better than output? They're not interested in that. They just need to get inspired. So I want to try to inspire as many people as possible, and I want, when you have good messages, I want to give you a little helping hand to how to get that message to more people. So first I'll talk a little about the blog side and then the YouTube side, because that's what's brought us all together. So just very quickly, what I've been able to do with my blog is reach these kind of audiences. It's not the big one, is it?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, I got a laser pointer. So to very quickly go through all this, my blog gets 400,000 unique monthly visitors, 500,000 on a good month. I've been on TV, New York Times, not Sunday Times. Last week, I was interviewed on National Irish Radio to talk about Klingon. Someone asked the question just there. 15 minutes on National Irish Radio, and I insulted the radio host. I said, "Your mother has a smooth forehead," in Klingon, which is, for people who know Star Trek, that's a serious mistake. And that was my third time on the same radio station. Like, I'm their go-to guy for all this. I've guest posted on very big websites like Lifehacker, Zen Habits. I had a front page Ask Me Anything on Reddit. Given 2 TED Talks, the last one just came out. 35,000 Facebook fans, 140,000 Twitter followers, and I got 3 pages in a New York Times best-selling book. So these are some of the things I've been able to do with my unique way of presenting my message. It's not about the message, and this is something I want to be clear. It's not that I'm the best polyglot. I think most people here are way better language learners than me. So a lot of people here are more passionate about languages. I'm just a traveller who uses languages as a means to an end. That's how I do it. I learn a language because I want to get into the country. But there are people here who are more passionate about languages, people who know more about languages, who know more languages than me. But there's a reason that I've had this kind of success that I want to kind of discuss today. And on terms of, this means TEDx, this is on the largest Saturday morning TV show in Australia, so that was fun. YouTube, 2.5 million channel views, 15,000 subscribers, many thousands of comments and all that good stuff. Okay, so how did I get this started? This is what my blog looked like 4 years, just like 4 years ago when I started up. I started the blog because I had already been traveling the world for 7 years. And I kept meeting people along the way who saw I was learning the language, and I could see all they needed was a little bit of inspiration. Just a little nudge, because they tell me, I go to the expat communities, they tell me, yeah, it's okay for you, you have this natural talent, I can't do this. So I heard it so many times that I could have started this earlier, but I'll tell you a little secret of what inspired me to start blogging. Was a blog I was subscribed to once. He wrote an article that was so terrible. So it had English mistakes, the basis of the article was dumb. And I was reading this in my in Google Reader or whatever, and it's like, you know, this guy has thousands of subscribers. Anyone can write a blog. And that's why I started. I don't have a writing background. I just registered the domain name and started writing. You do not have to be a writer. You don't have to be a native English speaker. There's a lot of people who write blogs in English to get to a bigger audience, and they're not native English speakers. You just have to start. So that's what I did. But with time, I wanted to improve on this, so I changed it to this. And at this stage, I was €4,000 in debt to my credit card. Okay? I was really, really bad off with money, so I couldn't afford to hire someone to design the site for me. So what I did was an exchange, like a language exchange, but I taught this guy some Spanish, and he designed my site for me. So it's not necessarily about the having the money to put into this resource, to put into this. You can find ways around some of these things to make your site better, but a good site design is essential. I moved on to make it look like this, what it looks like now. And it's nice and simple, just the two of them. You arrive, you see the title, and one thing that I really recommend if you're going to blog is to make it personal. Language, people learn languages because of like the many reasons we've listed, but they're inspired by the people, whether that's people in history, whether that's people they want to meet now. They're inspired by human beings. So when they're on your website, they want to see your face. They want to see a human behind this blog. So make sure your face is there. And every blog post I write, I actually have a picture of myself. And when you arrive in the blog, I got a picture of myself in the top right. This is because I feel like this makes a human connection. There's a lot of other blogs, when I arrive on them, I get an idea they're kind of written by like a corporation or something. So keep this in mind. Always make it personal. So yeah, that's what the blog looks like now. And this is just one example. This just a random picture, and by having a nicely designed web page, which you can get for free now. There's many WordPress themes. Start your blog, go to wordpress.com for a free one, or wordpress.org for the software that you'll install on a domain name. Like, it costed me $10 to register fluentin3months.com, and I paid those $10, and then I installed WordPress, and that was it. And I installed a free theme. This theme I got somebody else to design for me. But you'll notice you want to make sure it's social. Everything about a blog is that it's social. So that's why I make sure it's very easy to share things. I've always got these share buttons. This is a plugin that you can, when you're blogging on WordPress, you use plugins to give the site all of these extra features. So you do not need to do any programming. You don't need to be a programmer, you don't need to code anything. Just install a plugin. So this thing on the left is just the social media share plugin. That's not what it's called. I don't know what it's called, but it's one of the plugins you can install like this. This is a plugin just for showing the most popular posts and so on. All of this, no programming at all on my side. Okay? And of course, some of my posts do get a bit of controversy. This is a post I wrote about why I wouldn't live in America, one of my most famous posts. And it creates a lot of controversy. So that's one way to get traffic is controversy, which I don't actually do that much. It's people argue on forums and stuff, but that doesn't give me a lot of my readership. That's something I do like once a year. I'll have some controversial post like this. What gives the readership is the stories. And the main reason that my site is as big as it is because people have a reason to stick around. And this is why I think it's not about being the smartest language learner with the best advice. It's that somebody wants to hang around your site. So if you're writing a blog about Ladino, you can give, a series of like tips about Ladino, or a series of interviews with Ladino speakers, or whatever it may be, but you have something that entices the person to come back to your site. That's part of the story. Whether that's the 5 best ideas for whatever it is, you think about that. In my case, it's been the story of trying to learn a language. So I have the entire process from the beginning with videos and all of these things, pull people in and it gets them interested. So if you're writing a blog and if you're making a YouTube channel, try to have an interesting story. It's not just like, I don't upload videos talking about how to learn a language. I almost never do that. My videos are me struggling in the language or interviewing somebody about something interesting in that language. And it's using the language. So this is, for me, it's unique because I don't want to talk about always just how to learn a language, because my focus is just to show people that you can. Okay? So another fun thing that I do is I get help from people so that I can do things that I'm not able to do. So I can't use Photoshop. I've never learned how. And I don't really have the time to Photoshop things. So this funny thing, just for my mini project to revive my dead Hungarian, to bring it back to life. What I did is I went to a website called Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and I paid $5, so whatever that is, €3.50 or something, and the guy did this for me. I told him what I needed to do. I sent him the background image. I took this photo of myself, and I said, make my skin green and put in some comic book style things and give me a Frankenstein look. And he did that. So for this $5 investment, I got somebody to help me. And for instance, all of my videos are always captioned. They always have subtitles. Because if it's in another language, I think it's very important that you try to make sure it's understandable to as many people as possible. And uploading a video in some random language is great, but captioning it is annoying. It's time consuming. So people on Fiverr.com will do it for you. These are people who live in like the middle of China or in the Philippines, where for them, not only is that a lot of money, but you're not actually taking advantage of them, because this guy would have done this image in 10 minutes. So if he does like an hour of just constantly doing more requests and more requests, he's actually earning a lot of money. And so you're not taking advantage of people in poorer countries. You're helping them. I think €3.50 is a cool little investment for something like this. And when your site gets big, you can start. You can write it. And like one way I finance my site is I wrote this ebook, which I had people help me with translations, and actually the French translator Christine is here with us today, so thank you very much for that, Christine. But in terms of making sure people are happy when they're on the site, what really inspired me to try and make a living out of my website, which is a great thing to be able to do, was I met professional bloggers. I met people who make their living blogging, but they don't write about language learning. And I get a lot of my inspiration for how I make my site and how I get ideas for good blog posts from people who blog about completely different things. And it's the same with YouTube. I get some of my ideas from like the Vlog Brothers, for instance, which is a big YouTube channel. I see what are they doing, and that seems to work well, so I'll apply to what I did. So for instance, the Skype Me Maybe video, the inspiration I got from that was a channel that I'm subscribed to, where this guy did a collaboration with other people who blog about computer games. And they all kind of got together from across the world over Skype and sang together. And I thought it was such a great idea that I was like, I want to do that with languages. And that's how I got the idea, the inspiration to do the Skype Me Maybe video. So don't look for your inspiration just from other language bloggers and vloggers, but from everywhere around the world. Everyone who has an interesting website has something that they're doing that can inspire you in yours. One way I find out how to improve my own site is I did a little survey, and Google lets you do surveys very easily. You can do it for free. I sent this to my readers. They told me what they liked and what they didn't like. So, like for instance, there's all these email pop-up things, and I wanted to see, would that be a good idea to put my site? And everyone said no. Those are annoying. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. And you always have to think of the perspective of the person reading your site. But going on to YouTube, because that's what brought us all together. And I've taken this very seriously. I wanted to see, why are some YouTube videos popular and some aren't? Like, why is that? There has to be some logic behind it. And it's not just a case of, you know, the most multilingual person will get the most views. There are very, very specific reasons for this. So this is just a quick look at the most popular videos on my channel. So the Skype Me Maybe video, that's popular because it was a collaboration and because the community shared it. The reason it got so many views is because all of, like many of you and many people who follow other people's channels, they all shared it. We all worked together. And collaboration is so important. And I see this with a lot of our videos. We'd be interviewing one another and you get a link to the other person's channel. So it's not just about you making your best videos, but work with other people. And like on the blogging aspect, you guest post, you write on other people's blogs. Not just about language learning. Like I've taken my language learning idea and put it on these very, very big blogs, like the financial blog, Get Rich Slowly. I wrote a guest post, how to learn a language without spending a cent. On Zen Habits, a blog about minimalism, I wrote a guest post, the simple way to learning a language. On Art of Manliness, I wrote a guest post, how to learn a language like a man. So I just keep trying to put as many spins as I can, because these are websites with huge audiences that a small percentage of them, you know, whatever, 5% or 10%, whatever it is, want to learn languages. But that's a small percentage of a big number. So think outside of just collaborating with other language learners, but also collaborating with other bloggers in general and letting them guest post on your site. And I love having guest posts, and you're welcome to send me your ideas. Like last week's guest post I had is my favorite one ever, is this wonderful girl who's partially deaf and very, very seriously blind, has managed to learn 5 languages. Her story is so inspirational. I was like, you have to guest post on my blog. So I welcome these kind of inspirational and unique stories. And keep that in mind. That when you're on their site, you can put a link to your blog and get more traffic. But then a couple of other things. This second video of me and Moses McCormick, and I'm sure many of you know of Moses, we talk all the time on Facebook, and he's like, Benny, we got to do another video together, it'll get so many views. And I told Moses, the reason this video got so many views is not because I'm in it. It's your stuff. You are what's special in this video. The only difference is I put some of my editing on it. And I think it's important to have a little bit of, to have a little bit of professionalism in your videos. So, for instance, I get inspiration from many other things. So like when you watch a TV show, you have a very short thing to get you interested in this episode, and then you have the song, the theme song, and then you get into the episode. So why can't we do that on YouTube? And a lot of the most popular YouTube channels do that. They're like, in today's video, I'm going to be doing whatever, and then that gets you interested. And I'll give you a couple of examples in a second. But what I did with this is I took Moses' video, which unfortunately he tends to upload raw videos that are 2 hours long. Now his stuff is wonderful, but a 2-hour-long video is unfortunately not going to work, because the YouTube generation has a very low attention span. You should aim for a 5 to 10 minute video and try to make it intense and say really amazing things, or take a very, very long segment and cut it down to as short as possible. It's annoying because, like, you know, you can do so much more in an hour, you can discuss so many more interesting things, but 5 minutes is, like, you have to think of the majority of people who are on YouTube are sitting down at the end of the day's work and they just want to watch something funny, you know? They may not be interested in language learning, but you can grab their interest. This video of me and Moses was just going into a mall, as they call them in America, just going into one, walking around, talking to people. It was a unique concept, and people were like, they got interested in just seeing us using these languages in a random place. And then after that, I made sure within the video, like the video is purely for entertainment purposes, but within the video there's a short segment where I'm talking to the camera saying, you can do it, you don't have to doubt yourself, just walk up to somebody and open your mouth and say something. And that was my way of getting through to people. With all of those views, I could still use it as a way to inspire monolinguals to give language learning a try. Another way you can get a lot of interest in your channel is to talk about something very specific that people are searching for. So this video I did interviewing this lady about the differences between French in France and French in Quebec. That's just very simply something people search for on YouTube. And a lot of the times, and another reason Moses' channel gets a lot of views is he's uploaded so many videos. He's uploaded almost 2,000 videos. But each one has so many different titles that sometimes unintentionally, and I'm trying to encourage him to get more intentional, but sometimes unintentionally, he'll happen to use a phrase that people search for a lot. And that'll bring it out on top. So, and one other thing here is you just see that I've got this fun little image. And if you're a YouTube partner, then you can do all of these wonderful things. And I'll just get onto that now in a second. Now, a YouTube partner, the main idea, the main reason this exists is for Google to make money. Okay? That's the reason it exists. And they want more people to be partners because if they put ads in your video, then they pay you next to nothing. The payment is not worth your time at all. But if they get one ad in 1 million videos and pay each person 1 cent, then they actually get a lot of exposure. So from their perspective, it makes sense. From our perspective, you have to be getting like 500,000 or 1 million views or something on your video to make real money. So that's, a lot of people kind of think to become a YouTube partner is about making money. No. You become a YouTube partner for all of these other benefits. So if you just search Google like a YouTube partner, you just click a button and you apply. The criteria is that your content is original and your channel is good. It's kind of blurry, and we have someone from YouTube here. I don't know where are you at? Oh yeah, sorry. We have Stu from YouTube, so you can talk to him if you like. I don't know if there are specific criteria for becoming a partner, like a certain number of views your channel has to have or a certain number of comments, but just in general being active. By leaving comments on other channels, by uploading lots of interesting videos, by guest posting on other blogs so that they're referenced on those blogs so you get more views ultimately. These are great ways to make your channel active, and that your content is good just means a couple of people thumb it up. You don't have to get millions of views, just if you get a couple of 100 or 1,000 views, you might actually be ready to become a YouTube partner. Just click the button, you become a partner. Now, this means that your video starts to get featured. If you've ever noticed you're in YouTube, the top right, there's a featured video. That's always from YouTube partners. It's like having a free advertising spot. You're just there, you don't pay for it. It's just because you're a YouTube partner. You have all these analytical tools. So I could see where my traffic is coming from. I could see, like, when my video with Moses started to get a lot of hits, I was like, where are all these people coming? I don't get it. And then I looked into my analytics and I saw that it was Reddit that was referring those people. And I could take advantage of that. I went in, I talked to them and I said, how are you guys doing? And they said, you should do an Ask Me Anything. And they helped me get on the front page of Reddit. And it's because I use the analytical tools within YouTube. And then you've got the, oh, misspelled this, sorry. Got the customized banner and the still image. And that still image of me here is much better than the previous one. The default in YouTube takes 3 random still images, and one of them was just me like, you don't want that, because you have to remember, it's about people with a short attention span, that they're flicking through things quickly, and if they just see some guy just like this, then why did they want to click that video? So I got this, what I thought was the best still image of me, like, doing something in front of the camera, and then all these flags to show it's about language learning. Or with the Skype Me Maybe video, I completely re-edited it, and I had some special graphics with Moses. I threw in all this extra stuff, and then of course with the French and Quebec one, I have the flags because that really grabs people's attention as they're searching. So you can do this as a YouTube partner. You can customize everything. So I'd highly recommend You just click that button to sign up for one. Okay? But a few other reasons particular Polyglot videos do well is Tim's videos got almost 1.5 million views. And I think the #1 reason is because of the very first thing he says. Hello, my name is Tim, I'm 16, and in this video I'm going to be speaking 20 languages. That, to me, is the reason the video went viral. Because there's so, like, the most viral video ever for YouTube Polyglots. 1.5 million views. There's so many of us that have done somewhat similar videos. We'll sit in front of our camera, we'll talk a little bit. Sometimes it'll get, you know, a few thousand views, and that's nice. But the thing is, you have to remember, with the short attention span a lot of people have, they're sitting down, they're clicking a video, they're looking at it quickly, and then they're going away. So, at the very beginning, Tim has defined what the entire video is. It's going to be impressive because, firstly, he's young, he's 16, and then he's telling us what he's doing. I'm going to be speaking 20 languages. And I find a lot of videos that try to be like these polyglot-style videos, they start off with someone saying, you know, hi, I'm Benny, and first language I learned was Spanish, and you know, it was very hard for me. And it's kind of boring. Even though it's impressive that I'm going to start speaking other languages, or even if I jump straight into Spanish, people are like, you know, what's going on? I don't understand what he's saying. And then on top of that, like within the video, obviously he's smiling, he's using a good quality camera. So some webcams, they don't really record good quality. And another thing is, by adding captions, you make your video come up by default for a lot of people. Because a lot of people are using YouTube at their job and they can't listen. So they've got a default set that they'll only be able to watch videos with captions, because then they can understand it. And as well as that, if you're just talking about something interesting, you can get through to the deaf community as well. I've got a lot of deaf people who have watched my videos because the captions are always there. So I'd highly recommend you try to, especially if it's in other languages, to put the captions, because there's a lot of people who can't listen to what you're saying, but they still want to follow your video. Yeah, Moses, I've already said, he's got 1,730. Probably since I took this count, he's got another 10 videos, I imagine. And now Glossica, Mike Campbell, he's got probably the most subscribers out of our group, I think. And what his videos are very, very specific. He talks about how to learn English for Taiwanese people. And I was talking to somebody before who has a lot of random things on their channel. They talk about, you know, travel, they talk about this passion, they talk a bit about languages. Make it specific. If you have different passions, if you want a video about travel, you could start a brand new YouTube channel just about your travel experiences. If you have a YouTube about languages, make it just about languages. Okay? Make it specific. And try to help people. Try to make it, as I said, something searchable. The answer to a question. Like, it's not as interesting to just hear me talk in several languages about my, random things about me. But for me to discuss the answer to a question, what's different about French in Quebec? That's something people want to know. So always keep that in mind. Think about what is a random person searching YouTube looking for. So that's just a quick random idea of things, but like feel free to ask me whatever questions you want, because I know it's a bit fragmented what I've been talking about, but I really want to give you a few random ideas for things to help you and your YouTube and your blogging and your concept and your ideas, whatever you're passionate about, is if you think about the person on the other end, trying to get through to them, not just about what you think works, but to edit your videos, to start it with the right thing, to maybe have a little musical intro. If you've heard the musical intros to my videos, got it on Fiverr. I paid $5 for this cool little jingle, which someone spends all day doing. That's his job. He sits down and he makes little jingles for people. So, for $5, you know? So, yeah, that's just a couple of suggestions, but feel free to ask whatever questions you want.
That was really useful because
I'm not going to be the most inspirational talk. I love the other talks, but that's what I want to be, is useful to help people inspire in their own ways.
Exactly. I mean, it's just in the whole spirit really of what the Polyglot conferences are about. is to really engender that desire to learn and to promote language learning, not just also the learning process, but also various topics that we've raised today, some of which we'll see again tomorrow as well, and then also how to use them in a practical way. So really, really useful. Thank you very much.